here. Welcome, homesteaders and news junkies, to Rebel News. I am your host, Professor Tuck, coming to you live from my off-grid setup, where we blend self-reliance with what's happening in the world. It's April 16th, 2025, and today we're unpacking the top 5 trending U.S. news stories shaking up the country. From global trade wars to clean water fights, these stories will hit your wallet, your community, and your way of life. We'll dive into each topic, break down what it means economically, socially, and culturally, and then open the floor for your opinions. Drop your thoughts in chat. Make sure that they're all in all caps. I want to hear how these issues are hitting you, your homestead, or your neighborhood, where you're tuning in from. Shout out your location. Let's build this community. Grab tea, or as in my, I'm actually having some fruit punch tonight because I don't want any more hot coffee. I want to hear how these issues are hitting your homestead. Okay. So here comes our second story. Coming in at number 2, we've got a heated fight over diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay. DEI in politics and education. Harvard University made waves today by rejecting the Trump administration's demand to dismantle its DEI programs, which promote inclusivity for marginalized groups. The administration threatened to cut federal funding per NPR. At the same time, the NAACP filed a lawsuit against U.S. Education Department, arguing that slashing schools' fund tied to DEI violates equal protection laws. Bullshit. Reuters says legal battles are spreading as other schools face similar pressure. That's basically the core of it. And as I went and I looked into this, here's really what is not being said. So Trump said, here's our thing for anti-Semitism. They said, oh, well, we're already doing it. And then he said, hey, this and that and the other. And he said, you guys need to dismantle because it is fueling segregation and racism. So according to the Civil Rights Act of 1967, is that segregation and DEI is just another form of segregation because it's giving preferential treatment to specific people, just like affirmative action does. And that's why so many people dislike affirmative action. If you're anti-racist, you're also anti-affirmative action because it is just legal racism. And that's what they're doing with DEI. The reason why Harvard is such a big deal is because guess where all of our leaders come from? All of our leaders come from um, from Harvard and Yale and the Ivy League schools. That is where all our leaders come from. So if you can groom that next generation of leaders, you can therefore go out there and influence future policy. So this isn't just a battle over DEI. This is a battle over the future of politics and policy in the future. Because these people may come out and say, well, they're anti-DEI just because of the climate. But as soon as Donald Trump fades into oblivion in our memories, and we're worried about what's going on in front of us, that's when these types of politicians will be coming of age to be able to start getting in, whether at the local level or at the state level or even at the federal level, because Harvard produces America's next leaders. And so if the reason why they're holding on to DEI is not necessarily because they believe in DEI, it's because they want to shape the foreign policy. And this is just something that's crazy and it's whack job. It makes absolutely no sense. I have been, because I'm against DEI, I have been called a racist white right-wing supremacist, even though people who know me know that I am neither right-wing, left-wing, or center-wing. I'm kind of a little bit everywhere. All right. So this is really, so the Trump administration has withheld funding. And so what Harvard has done is they put, like, I think it was a $786 billion what's it called? Taxable bonds out. So what they're getting to do is they're getting people to buy their bonds, which Harvard is going to have a AAA rated bond because it's Harvard, and people are going to buy it not realizing what they're funding. And in a way, they're playing on your ignorance, and either that or those who are aware playing on your politics. So therefore you fund this not realizing how much more scary it's going to make life. Because I've been, when I did my travels, for those of you that followed me from the beginning, you remember I was in Tallahassee. I kept calling Tallahassee a BLM city. I thought that Cincinnati was kind of a BLM city, maybe Kentucky as well, Covington, but I was kind of iffy on that. But for sure, um, Tallahassee was a BLM city. What is a BLM city? That means if you were if you were other than black or brown or any shade off white, you are automatically a justified target. There were people, I had people in the comments leaving stories telling me about their children and what happened with their children getting beaten up just because of the color of their skin. And therefore, because what we're doing is emboldening and allowing these sick individuals to be able to, just run wild like Lord of the Flies. This is what we're getting. And so this is what Donald Trump is fighting against. I think that this is something that is important. And if you really want to get involved, this is where you should start making. You all have different ways in which you network, where you talk with people, and you're 7 degrees of separation. They even made a movie about it, which means you're 7 people away from direct contact with Donald Trump at any given point in time. You don't know it, but there are 7 people that one person who knows one person who knows one person who knows Donald Trump. Okay. And so we're that intertwined, not realizing it. So if you speak out about this and why this is important, and it's important that you get informed on all of this process. But DEI itself is a form of segregation. It's bringing back the Jim Crow laws, but instead of being against Jim Crow, it's being against Sally McBride, we'll say. All right. So let's open the floor. Where do you guys stand on DEI in school? Should Harvard and others fight to keep these programs, or is this government right to demand or is the government right to demand changes? If you're homeschooling, how are you navigating these cultural debates? Maybe teaching your kids about equity in your way. Anyways, let's. And last question is: are funding cuts pushing you towards being self-reliant with your education? And if so, kind of tell us why. Okay.
Sam, come here, Sam. All right, come on, let's go.